Sam Purley from Hornets.com joins us to talk about this past Hornets weekend and the schedule going forward. We talk about it all today on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
You are Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network every day. It's your team, local experts, and the #1 daily sports podcast network. And thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We're available on all platforms. Check us out on YouTube as well, where you can watch us make fool of ourselves. Also, the subscribers, they're going up, and we really appreciate everybody subscribing and watching us on YouTube. You can also get your podcast wherever you get them, Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. You can follow us on Twitter, Walker Mail, Doug Branson, LOH, Locked On Hornets, and you can find our guest, Sam Purley, on Twitter at Sam_Purley. Sam, thanks for joining us, man. It's been a while. How you been?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. It has been a while, but it's good to see you guys. And yeah, things are going well.
Good. Well, we got Doug back in the fold, and so now, of course, we need to bring on Sam Purley so we can argue about what you truly are as a person who covers the Hornets and just as a person in general, where I think you are the guy. I want to type in stats into the basketball calculator. You help us dissect everything scientifically, what's going on in the court. And Doug, he wants to ask you about the artistry of the game. He thinks there's more to you than just the stats. And so, Doug, I mean, are you going to lead off with, are you just going to stay away from all of the stat questions? Like, how are you going to handle all this?
No, I'm just saying, like, everybody just thinks that Sam is only a numbers guy, and I'm just here to tell everyone Sam is a human being. He has thoughts, he has feelings, and I want to know them. I'm going to dig. You go ahead, Walker. You get into the numbers.
I care about
you
his
get into the
geekery.
I'm going to dig down. I'm going to dig down into his soul.
Okay.
That's where I'm going to dig.
All right. Well, let me be very surface level with Sam, and then Doug can allow everybody to get to know the man that is behind the camera more so than just the brain typing in all the stats. Let's go to some bad ones last night, Sam. It was brutal against the Atlanta Hawks, but it was really just because of the shooting for the Charlotte Hornets that really did them in. And this was a team that was red hot coming in. They were 4 of 36, though, from the perimeter. That's 11.1%.
Ouch.
And LaMelo Ball, 0 of 8. Terry Rozier, 0 of 6. Miles Bridges, 0 of 4. When you call it a make-or-miss league, certainly a miss type of league for the Charlotte Hornets last night, that had to be the biggest difference in this game, right?
Yeah, I think it really kind of came down to that. They missed their first 19 attempts. I think it took until midway through the third quarter to hit one. At that point, it's 18, 19-point deficit. And I think it's just one of those nights. The previous season low, I think, was 9 twice, and they have that by getting down to 4. So I think if everyone's going to have an off night, let's just have it all together and get it out of the way. So I think that's what it was. I thought the defense and effort was there for the most part, but it can only kind of get you so far when at some point you just got to start hitting shots. And yeah, just one of those nights. And I think that was kind of the sentiment of the teams and players afterwards, just kind of flush it a little bit and move on to the next.
I'm going to blame JJ Redick for this loss. I saw he tweeted just putting this out there, but the Hornets, they're 10-3 in their last 13. That's tied for the second best record in the NBA during that span. And Terry Rozier, T_Rose3, his Twitter handle, averaging 23, 5, and 5 in this stretch, shooting 43%. They're hooping, and of course, as soon as they do that, Terry goes over from the perimeter. I'm blaming JJ Redick. I think that's responsible. I have no problem going that route. I did want to talk about you tweeting this out too, though, Sam, the fact that Cody Martin, he gets the start, and he's been really good anytime that he's been thrust into the starting lineup. I believe it's been 7 times now after this game against the Hawks. No Gordon Hayward, just kind of giving him some rest. No Jalen McDaniels because of the injury that he suffered, I think, 2 games ago now. What is it about Cody Martin that has allowed him to improve so much, even offensively, and just kind of pick up where maybe some of the absences are when he is in the starting 5?
I mean, his versatility is just great. I think he understands his role. He does a lot of different things. Like you mentioned, the offense is taking a major jump this year. I think his 3-point percentage has probably got to be close to at least 40% now. I know I think he was in health and safety protocols for a little while back in December. And is just a guy that can do everything. He can play different positions. He can play ball handler. He can be your off guard. He can play the 3. There was even times last night he was getting matched up on John Collins. So he's just a guy that I think it's pretty simple. Just he knows his knows his role and can do a little bit of everything, and he's been so invaluable for the Hornets. And I think he's another great example of kind of the internal development, player development processes they've made the last couple of years. It hasn't just been these first round guys, similar to Jalen McDaniels as well, as you can also add to that group. They're both in the same draft class. So he was really good. I think he had a game. I want to say, what game was it? It was the game at the Knicks, 45 minutes the other night.
Yeah.
Or I guess it was during the day, 45 minutes with LaMelo out. And I think a couple guys were in foul trouble in that game. And he just gave everything he had. And the numbers don't really pop out in the box score, but you can really feel his presence out there watching him play for the Hornets and how valuable he is to this team.
So you talk about feeling Cody Martin's presence. Were the Hornets feeling the not presence, the unpresence of Gordon Hayward in this game against Atlanta? Where is Gordon Hayward's value to the team, and what do they miss when he's not out there?
Yeah, I think you could definitely feel it. I don't know exactly the timetable of when they knew when he wasn't going to play, whether he showed up at the arena and it was a thing and he kind of went through it, if it was a morning thing. Regardless of the situation, I don't think they got any sort of like team reps leading into Gordon Hayward not playing against Atlanta. And you could really feel in that first half. I think they were struggling to get baskets, down 8, 9, 10. And that's kind of those moments where Gordon can really kind of steady things, get good shots, has that great mid-range shot around the elbow, can get to the basket. Been a great free-throw shooter this year as well. So, I think you definitely felt it in terms of just kind of calming down the situation. I think, when you start missing shots like the Hornets did last night, you can kind of start getting a little tight, and you need somebody out there, a seasoned veteran, to kind of, slow things down if necessary. So I think you definitely felt him. I don't think he was the main reason. I think he contributed to the loss. I think overall, the 4 of 36 from 3 was the primary reason. But his absence was definitely felt for sure.
Sam, I remember at the beginning of the season, I think most people kind of thought James Borrego and the Hornets would try to manage Gordon Hayward's minutes as much as possible. But some things have come up to where maybe, one, they just don't want to at that time anymore, but also COVID, health and safety protocols. They've had some guys be out, and Gordon's kind of had to step up in those absences to the point where he's I think he's leading the team in games and in minutes played, and he just hasn't had all that much time to rest. How do you think the Hornets have tried to navigate that? Has there been some hiccups in that just because of some of the injuries they've suffered? And do you think that, they want to try to get a more resting time as the season goes on?
Yeah, I think from the understanding of yesterday, I think it was more of just a precautionary. I think it was actually an ailment, but I think you can kind of meld it between precautionary mixed with rest. I think he's only had one other game he's missed this season. I want to say it was the Utah game in Utah. He just same thing, back discomfort or something, just kind of a one game maintenance thing. So, I think with he was in health and safety protocols in the preseason. Right. So he's actually never missed the block of time during the regular season that the majority of the rotation has. So I think the big goal here is to get him, or to get everybody, I guess, but you want to have your guys healthy, playing and energized come March, come April, with a lot of impactful games, which is hopefully where this Hornets season is trending. And, I think you also have confidence too that during these bouts where they had a lot of guys out, or they had rotation guys out, that you've seen other guys step up. So it affords you a little bit more leeway to, hey, if we have to be super precautionary with Gordon Hayward or somebody else, we can sit him knowing that Cody Martin or Kelly Oubre or PJ Washington or somebody is capable of stepping up. We've seen it before. You saw it in that week where they had the 5 guys out and, narrowly knocked off Philly twice, beat Sacramento, I think, down 7 guys. So I think that gives confidence to the coaching staff and the players as well. They said, if we're missing guys, we've proven that we can step up. Or again, they didn't have LaMelo Ball in New York and won by 10. Miles stepped up and scores career high 38. So I think there's certainly evidence that the team is able to overcome absences, hopefully nothing too prolonged, but I think that's, certainly a thing that is a luxury to have right now for the Hornets. You got a lot of guys that can step up and score 20, 25, 30 points on any given night if need be.
Just great analysis, great numbers so far. You mentioned rest, you mentioned energy, all important things. So what I'd like to know is, Sam, is what do you do? Let's dig down into you a little bit. What do you do to get rest? What do you do to re-energize? Because you are not a robot. You don't just plug yourself in at night and recharge. What do you do?
It's a good question. No one's really asked me that. This is kind of
It's great. Now I'm the jerk even more so. Goodness.
This is kind of, I would say this season is definitely a lot. Having the return to normalcy and being in the arena a little bit more helps with, I guess, sort of the mental side as compared to last year when everything was we weren't in the office or anything, or just kind of going in strictly for games and coming home. But it definitely I feel energized this season, kind of being back in the arena. So that's helped it's a lot easier to get rest after the team wins because, you're excited and it just makes things easier because this is kind of the part of the season where, we're kind of, I guess, in the dog days, mid-January, late January, early February for the All-Star break. But in terms of me getting rest, I don't know. I'm pretty low key. I like to read a lot. And
okay, what are you reading?
So I just finished Sweetness by Jeff Pearlman. It's a little bit older. I think it came out in maybe 2011. Just a biopic on Walter Payton, or a biography on Walter Payton was really, really good. And I just started Chris Herring's Blood in the Garden about the 1990s Knicks, and I'm only like 20 pages in, and it's really, really good, really, really detailed. It's a team that I think a lot of people, I'm not from New York and don't vividly remember those Knicks teams necessarily, who they are and what they did, but there seems like it's going to be a lot of good stories. So a lot of reading, a lot of low key, hang out with my wife, Ashley, and cats, and I'm not a very exciting guy. I really am.
That's no. You're saying no. That's extremely exciting. I loved all of that.
Sam, be honest. You do puzzles. You do Sudoku. That's what you do in your free time.
Wordle? You into Wordle?
No puzzles or anything. I'm keep with
gonna get you on Wordle.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to become. Brian Travis, our PR guy. I know he's into Wordle and things like that. I don't know. I really don't even know what it is. It's a word puzzle. It comes out once a night or once a day or something.
I'll tell you what it is. People forget. I don't know. And look, I apparently I was 80 years old when I was 10 years old watching the Game Show Network. But remember Lingo? Do you remember that game at all?
That's fine. Yes. Well, everybody understands that it's Lingo. You're going to make a big deal.
I haven't
seen
anybody.
Fine.
I'm breaking news to everybody that this is a variation.
No one loves Wordle because it's like some ingenious new thing. It's like a lot of things. It is a twist on an old classic, and it's beautiful. And I won't have you disparaging it on this show.
and you get to if you complete it, you can post it on Twitter or something, and
yeah,
that's right.
The New York Times crossword puzzle. It's like the New York Times crossword puzzle.
That's the sign of worth in today's society. If you can't post it on Twitter, Sam, you post all the time on Twitter. If I can't post it on Twitter, then it doesn't mean anything.
Did you even really play Wordle if it's on Twitter? Did you even really work out if it's not on Twitter? Those are the questions of today's society. All right, do you know why free trials renew without your consent?
Why?
It's a business scam out to get you, Doug. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money anymore. Download Truebill to take control of your subscriptions. Truebill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot about. So go get Truebill and then go post about it on Twitter, because on average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. Don't fall for subscription scams anymore. Start canceling today at Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now, Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. It could save you thousands a year. Also, want to talk about Built Bar, because not only should you be visiting Truebill, but if you have New Year's resolutions to get your finances in order and also stay in shape, then Built Bar is for the latter. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. Every single one of those things are covered in 100% chocolate. You have some great flavors, but a lot of them only contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar. You get 4 net carbs, but boom, shoots right up to 17 grams of protein, also high in fiber as well. So go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. James Bouknight getting some minutes here and there the last couple of outings. Will that continue? We'll talk about that with Sam Purley coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
This is Locked On Hornets.
I'm a little. Listen, hold on. Now, see,
we couldn't just blow by that one.
Well,
you had
because
to stop me.
this is what frustrates me. I'm under the weather. I'm not at 100% right now, and you're just taking it to me. You're like one of these people that knew Nick Batum had a hand injury, and they were just slapping his hand because it's like we're gonna knock this guy's hand because we know he's injured,
And that's what you're doing to me right now. But I just want to say, Sam, if you're listening, you're more than a numbers guy. You have heart, you have soul, you have agency, you are a person. Love you, Sam.
It's time for more of the Locked on Hornets podcast.